Hi everyone, my name is Angela Hart, and I'm a Georgetown University graduate student. For the last year, I've been working on my thesis project, Do Political Film Adaptations Affect Voter Knowledge? I'm thrilled to be doing this video because today I'm reporting my findings. After doing extensive research, I'm finally able to report on my hypothesis being correct in some senses. In order to test a knowledge gain, I used the film Recount as my case study. Recount depicts the 2000 election and all of the issues that occurred down in Florida when both Republicans and Democrats had to deal with how to proceed in the recount. In order to conduct my analysis, I had focus group members do a pre-survey, watch the film, and do a post-survey. Prior to viewing Recount, 38.7% of my respondents were able to correctly define a hanging chad. After viewing Recount, 80% were able to correctly define a chad. That is quite a large difference. An even bigger difference occurred between the pre- and post-survey results for defining a dimple. After watching Recount, 84% of my respondents were able to correctly define a dimple. On my survey, I had respondents try to identify the political party of the individuals depicted in the film. Prior to viewing Recount, 16% of people were able to identify Ron Klain's political party. After watching Recount, 80.6% were able to correctly identify him as a Democrat. Before watching Recount, almost 13% of individuals were able to identify James Baker as Republican. After viewing Recount, almost 39% of people were able to tell he was a Republican. Before watching Recount, 0% of my respondents knew who Max Stefanovich was. After watching Recount, almost 78% of people knew he was Republican. Before watching Recount, 19.4% of people knew Katherine Harris was a Republican. After watching Recount, almost 94% of them were able to identify her as Republican. Other noticeable differences were Benjamin Ginsburg going from 3% to 48.4%, and Warren Christopher being 6.5% to 61.3%. After watching Recount, my respondents were much more knowledgeable about the 2000 election. One of the limitations of my study is that I could not follow up with respondents a month or two after viewing the film. It would have been very interesting to see how long they retained the information. I can demonstrate that post-viewing, they were able to speak confidently about the film and define the key terms. I cannot, however, demonstrate how long that knowledge was gained. Recount was made 8 years after the 2000 election, and today I'm doing this project in 2016. Unfortunately, there are still issues with voting today, whether it's absentee ballots, or voter restriction laws, or needing an ID to vote. It's very important for people to understand that voting issues has been an ongoing theme within America's history. The film captures all of the themes that the Democrats and Republicans faced during the election. For my content analysis and my fact versus fiction chapter, I found it extremely important to note that the film captures the general themes that both parties faced during the recount process. While the film might lean more towards the Democrats, it captures the issues that both parties faced, and how the Republicans wanted to ensure that Bush won and make sure that the recount process ended due to the fact that they could not include partial recounts, and how the Democrats were trying to have the undervotes counted. In regards to the fact versus fiction portion, it became more important to have the general theme and the general characteristics portrayed versus having every detail and definition included. The film provides an overview, but not a comprehensive knowledge base. If somebody is interested in the 2000 election, the film is not a supplement to doing additional research. It can, however, portray and define some of the key facts. After doing my study, I believe the film provides a nice overview, but does not go into the specifics because it does leave out details such as the Seminole-Martin County absentee ballot problem, as well as some of the issues on the Republican side. Prior to their Florida Supreme Court case, there was a draft opinion that the justices had done prior to hearing any evidence. This is entirely legal, and they're allowed to do this, especially when it's a high-profile case or they need to have something ready to go immediately. And so the Republicans found this draft opinion stating how they were already going to side with Democrats. In this case, the Republicans were considered the underdogs because they were going up against the liberal Florida Supreme Court justices. The film, however, did not depict this issue, which pertained specifically to the Republicans. I can testify to the fact that people were able to identify the key terms, such as dimple and chad, but they were not able to always identify more specific information. In regards to future research questions, I do believe that there's more to be studied within this area. I'd love to have a respondent sample comprised of more than just the student body of Georgetown. I think having a wider sample pool might be more telling about the film's effects, especially taking into account the fact that Georgetown University students already have a working knowledge base of politics due to their own interests or prior knowledge base. The themes of the film become more important than the dialogue or the characters themselves. The concepts being depicted are what's truly important when it comes to an adaptation of this nature. While I do believe that this film can be used in a classroom setting to help students understand the 2000 election, I don't believe it can be used in place of reading books and looking for additional findings. If you have any questions on how I conducted my study, or reached these particular conclusions, please comment down below or message me directly. If you enjoyed my study or found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you found my project interesting and educational. Please let me know if you have any future questions.